thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your host, Jason Beck, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yeah. Good morning, you guys. Good morning. It is Friday, December 5th.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I guess
My estranged sister's birthday.
No way.
Yeah. She doesn't talk to me, though.
I mean.
But happy birthday, Lindsay.
Yes. Happy birthday, Lindsay. Happy birthday. Let's see. It is it's National Bartender Day.
Ooh, shout out to the bartenders.
Yeah, I love bartenders. They always have great
making Negronis across the nation.
Making Negronis, is that a drink, Jesse?
Dude, a Negroni is the drink, bro.
I don't know about all that. But
You should know what a Negroni is. If you don't know, shame.
Huh. Interesting. I guess we're not going to have an X stream today because it still hasn't started. Interesting. All right, Gabriel.
I'll text him.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'll text him and see what's up.
Let him know. Yeah. It's also National Repeal Day, which I guess makes sense to celebrate your bartender because it's about the repeal of prohibition. National Repeal Day.
Yeah, let's repeal the prohibition of cannabis. How about that?
I'm down with that too.
Let's just stop with all this medical and recreational adult use silliness and just decriminalize and deschedule.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys noticed, or if I've mentioned this, but I hate the word recreational. I think it's the worst word to use when regarding with
it
cannabis.
Is. Adult use is better. Yeah. That's why I use both.
Yeah. I pretty much refuse to use the word recreational. Like in every article that I read, I immediately switch it to adult use. I don't care. This is the most dumbest word, and it gives us a bad image, in my opinion, politically, and so much. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. It's also National Sasher Tort Day today. You know what that is, Jesse? It's a dessert.
A what tort?
Sasher Tort. S-A-C-H-E-R. Tort. T-O-R-T-E Day. It's like a piece of cake.
I don't know what that kind of tort is.
Oh, it looks amazing in the picture, bro. Oh, bro, it looks so good. Here, let me pull it up for you, Jesse, since we're it looks really good. If you like chocolate and you like cake, then National Sasher Tort Day, December 5th, is a perfect day for you. The layered ingredients make this dessert a delicious tort. Sasher Tort, also known as charcuterie, is a unique type of chocolate cake. Australian French Sacher invented it in 1832, Vienna, and considers the Sasher Tort one of their most famous culinary specialties. It looks very, very luscious, bro. It looks so good. Man, I may have to find a restaurant that's serving that up today. Just because. But let's see. What else do we have going on today? It's also National Fox Fur Day today, which I think is stupid.
Ooh.
Anyone that wears fake fur, it's just totally ridiculous.
Faux fur?
Yeah, faux fur.
Not
yeah,
fox
I guess
fur.
FAUX. Yeah, I guess that's how you would say faux. I would say faux as FOO, or maybe PHO, like the Vietnamese soup.
Well, everybody else in the world pronounces that faux, meaning fake.
Well, that everyone can be an idiot if they want to, Jesse, but it says fox.
Well, it looks like that, but that's not how it's pronounced.
Well,
phonetically, it's different than what it's how it's spelled.
If all of those people want to be wrong, Jesse, I don't have a problem with it.
It's a French word meaning.
Yeah, exactly. He struggles with other languages.
I noticed.
It's also like there.
I mean,
there's three different spellings, and I said it all the same.
I get that. That's totally not even close to even the same thing. But yes, Dr. T, I do struggle with some other languages, but you know, I am fluent in Trump, and I am fluent in Ebonics, and I'm fluent in English. And so I'm in essence, I speak 3 languages already just off of that alone.
Excellent. You're getting there.
Yeah,
but not French.
I do not speak French. No. That I definitely have no.
Well, you got a French lesson today. It's faux.
I know. The best invention the French have came up with is the French fries. I knew you would love that one, Jesse. It's also National Bathtub Party Day today, you guys.
Okay.
Yes. Party in your bathtub, you know what I'm saying?
I'm going to throw a bathtub party for sure.
Throw some suds, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, get a couple rubber duckies out, some celebration hats.
Do they still make Mr. Bubble?
Dude, that was my favorite.
That was the best.
That was my favorite character.
Yeah.
Period. When I was a kid, I don't know why I was in love with that character.
He was great. Do you remember Mr. Bubble, Dr. T, and Dr. Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sweet. It's very nostalgic. Very nostalgic.
So cool.
Yes, and I don't know why this is today, but it says that it is. It says that today is National Black Friday. Today, you guys.
Like African American black?
No, like Black Friday. Like, yeah, no, that's cute. I'm glad that you said that, Dr. T, and not me. You know what I'm saying? Let's see what it, because to me, I'm so confused by this. Oh wait, this looks like this has to do with massage. National Black Friday is celebrated each year on the Friday after Black Friday. This annual celebration is the movement to prioritize self-care and find that moment of awe in a season usually full of holiday stress. The holiday season is defined by hustle, long shopping lines, and endless to-do lists, and we are giving everyone a reason to take a deep breath and find time to rest, relax, and recognize the unsung heroes who carry the holidays on their backs. The stress from the holiday madness. Oh, I hate when all of a sudden a pop-up pops up. The stress from the holiday madness, planning, spending spree, travel, and immense pressure of Black Friday shopping is often at an all-time high, and National Black Friday is a conscious effort to focus on gratitude, empathy, and human connection rather than the material frenzy of the end of the year rush, you guys.
I like that.
That's cute. That's cute. That's very, very, very cute, you guys. National Black Friday, not to be confused with actual Black Friday, apparently. So, interesting.
What about Thursday? Thursday gets no love?
Thursday gets no love. No love, Dr. Mark. No.
That's why
we're on Fridays, Mark.
That's it. Exactly. Thank you, Dr. T. Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Let's see. Then I guess, and that's all we have for today. So thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high at noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, Kick, as well as on our very own website, www.high9news.com. So welcome to everyone joining us from any one of those platforms. And please make sure, YouTube has, gets angry with us from time to time. And so we just got off a restriction. They're out of YouTube jail. So please make sure that you are following us on X and on Rumble. Those are the platforms that are not stifling speech in any way whatsoever. So please make sure that you are following us there, because if you can't find us here on YouTube, you will be able to find us on Rumble and X. And we really want to grow our X audience and our Rumble audience because, there's just safer platforms for what we talk about over here. But nonetheless, there's a study, doctors. I've been studying. Because there's a study that finds medical cannabis is linked to improvements in fibromyalgia symptoms, including improved sleep, anxiety, and overall wellness. That's right. A new study published in the Clinical Rheumatology reports that patients with fibromyalgia experienced meaningful improvements after beginning treatment with cannabis-based medical products. Researchers from King's College in London and Imperial College London reviewed outcomes of 497 adults enrolled in the UK Medical Cannabis Registry, tracking their progress for up to 18 months. Most participants were women in their mid-40s, and more than half were unemployed at the time of enrollment. The team evaluated changes in several patient-reported measures, including pain, severity, anxiety, sleep quality, and general quality of life, across every follow-up period at 1, 3, 6, 12, and 18 months. Patients reported improvements on all measures with statistical significance between the P greater than 0.010 threshold, and the data also showed that individuals using more than 25 milligrams of CBD per day, Dr. T, as well as those with previous experience using cannabis, were more likely to report symptom improvements on fibromyalgia-specific scales. Nearly 46% of patients experienced at least one adverse event, totaling 2,100 events, and the vast majority classified as mild or moderate, and fatigue was the most frequently reported issue. Researchers concluded that treatment was associated with better pain, anxiety, sleep, and overall wellness, while noting that the high rate of adverse events may reflect the underlying synthesizing seen in fibromyalgia. Well, look at that. Some good news coming out of the UK from across the pond today, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say.
The UK's been doing all these great studies while the US has been arguing. They've been doing it for years. And what they do is they have a registry where they know what products you're using, and they identify the outcome of using that product. It's a great way to sort of survey the landscape and kind of get an idea of what's harmful and what's helpful. It's not a traditional pharmacologic approach, but it's a great approach to develop some hypotheses and really use something to prove. So this is interesting that products with CBD greater than 25 milligrams are affecting fibromyalgia in a positive way. Now we just have to come up with what's the ideal dose, and clearly it's above 25 milligrams.
I was about to say it's obvious it's above 25 milligrams, Dr. T. Maybe they should double up and do 50 and see if these people are twice as happy, right?
Yeah, 50, 100. I mean, I calculate 10 milligrams per kilogram, which for the average adult could be up to 1,000 milligrams in a day.
Yeah, but if you do it by kilograms, you're giving them a half-life, Dr. T, and you should just base it off of the pounds, and then you could double up their things. And that's what everybody wants is, to consume more or whatnot, which leads to more sales and everything overall and a better economy.
It's just that we use metric inside. Really, there's a reason why you're not in the science world.
Hey, I am in the science world. I'm, yeah, 100%.
Only if he's calculating milligrams of THC.
I believe in the science, Dr. T. I believe in the science.
There's metrics there.
Yeah,
that's
why I don't wear a mask, because I believe in the science. Oxygen is the greatest cure of them all.
Yes. Oxygen is helpful.
Yeah.
But not too much. Not too much.
Exactly.
You know.
That's why they have oxygen bars, and people get a little loopy over there sometimes, Dr. T. That's the real crossfade, right?
There you go. Oxygen, just don't light up in the oxygen bar.
No, don't light up. No, that would be very that would create a hot mess, literally, Dr. T. You know what I mean? Yes. Dr. Mark, what do you think about this? Do you have anyone you know with fibromyalgia that all of a sudden should take some high doses of CBD?
I do. And I think, yeah, it is generally known that CBD helps with fibromyalgia. I have actually a question based on what I've heard in your story. You know, what is the legal landscape in the UK?
The legal landscape, it's so the legal landscape is very regulated. They do have medical cannabis, but it's you know, like every other place in Europe where it's all done through pharmacies. It's only like tinctures and pills and whatnot. There is no flower form whole plant type of medicine. It's all based off of formulation type products.
But
yeah, so
the people, most people don't get deregulated because they, you know, so
Exactly.
so a lot of people are getting private cannabis rather than state regulated.
Oh, I see how you did that. That was cute, Dr. T. That was cute. You know what I'm saying? That was cute. That was cute. The private market cannabis.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's good. Any other questions we can help assist you with, Doctor?
In California too, by the way.
It's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere, all day, every day.
Right.
Well, I just think it's interesting, just from a historical perspective, that GW Pharmaceuticals was based in England, right? And certainly, you know, they came out with this Epidiolex. And so is there kind of like the equivalent of the DEA in England that can basically crack down on CBD sales to try to force people into the Epidiolex medication?
I don't really understand the question. Can you kind of try to repurpose that just a little bit?
Yeah. So where are people getting CBD in England? Are they buying it
From there's pharmacies. There's pharmacies. There's medical pharmacies.
Legally sold? Is it full plant extract, so it has THC and CBD, and you know, does it have all the minor cannabinoids, or is it just solely just CBD?
I'm willing to say that they would have some of both, but I do know that it's a very restrictive market. You know, just like Germany. And a lot of other European marketplaces. You know, like you're not going to go in there and find any flour. You're not going to find any brands that you recognize. These are all formulated based products that you'll be able to procure there with a recommendation.
I just think that, you know, there's a bunch of literature, and Dr. T knows this too, and I think Dr. T preaches this here on.
Well, you just froze on us, Dr. Mark.
Oh no.
He became Elsa.
Oh, there he is.
He converted to JPEG.
Yeah. Dr. Mark, we lost you for a second. Your internet froze on us for a second.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. Yes. What were you saying? Say that one more time, please. Yep.
Well, so Dr. T tells us all the time, and I think there's a lot of data that points to whole plant medicine, especially when it comes to CBD, is more effective than CBD isolate by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the question is are these fibromyalgia results based on whole plant extracts of CBD that are going to have minor cannabinoids, or is it just CBD alone?
Now I'm just speculating, and I'm going to say that these are CBD alone because the article did not reference whole plant. And because they're so analytical based out there in the UK, I would say that it would be noted if there was in the article if there was some amount of THC that was interacting with the CBD. So since the article does not relate any of that and it doesn't mention any of that in the study, I'm going to say that this is just straight CBD.
So a question for Dr. T is that would you think that a whole plant extract that is enriched with CBD would be more effective at treating fibromyalgia than an isolate? I think I know the answer.
I would say Yes, but there's no proof of that. We would have to, it's difficult because the whole plant extract is generally variable. You sort of, unless you standardize it, then you don't know. And there is, remember that recent study with CBD? It was a broad spectrum CBD standardized, so it had all other minor cannabinoids, and it was a study out of Germany, and they showed that it improved back pain. They didn't compare it with isolate to see if it did, but it was sort of one of the first studies that really used a broad spectrum to prove efficacy. It's just going to be a very interesting game. The more broad spectrum it is, the more it's like food, right? Food's got all these different things in it, and the more isolated, the more it's like pharma.
Yep. Very, very true. It's very isolated, and it is very farm out there all the way in the UK. Jesse, you have anything you want to add in on top of this before we roll on?
No, I think everything's been said.
All right.
I mean, fibromyalgia is a brutal thing. It's great to see that anything's helping them, and especially cannabis.
Well said. And on that, we're going to roll into our first commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Sort of broad symptoms, which lends itself to cannabis, because cannabis addresses the inflammation, it addresses the mood. So it's
interesting. Homeostasis.
What's that?
He said homeostasis.
It tries to balance, but it targets those things too. So it's
interesting. Interesting.
Fibromyalgia is a good one for cannabis.
All right. Well, on that, we're going to roll into our next story. You guys, we're going to get a little political for a second. I had a good study story for you, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to get into a little bit of politics real quick, and then we'll get back to some more studies, though, in just a little bit. But there's a senator, and he's a bad senator, who blocks Sarah Carter's nomination for the White House drug czar after a procedural dispute. That's right. A procedural objection by Senator Michael Bennet. Blockedia major slate of President Donald J. Trump's nominees on Thursday, with Bennett taking aim at Sarah Carter, who also goes by Sarah Bailey, the president's pick to oversee national drug policy. Carter's a former Fox News contributor and one of Trump's most visible appointees this year, has drawn attention not only for her background, but also for her stated support of legalizing medical cannabis. Carter has also expressed support for reforming federal psychedelic laws, especially when it comes to psilocybin laws, and she said in 2024 that she supports federal medical legalization, especially when it comes to psilocybin policies. Carter was included in a batch of 88 nominees that Republicans attempted to move forward at once, and under Senate rules, positions like the head of the federal drug policy require individual consideration rather than advancement through a simple majority vote. Because Carter was bundled with the larger group, Republicans would have needed a 3/5 majority to proceed, an outcome that appeared out of reach. But Bennett said that the procedural block was necessary to prevent what he called unqualified nominees from advancing, and he specifically singled out Carter, arguing that her inclusion undermined the rules governing drug policy appointments. His objections halted consideration of all 88 nominees, and in his statement, Bennett said, "I just blocked 88 Trump nominees from confirmation, including Sarah Carter Bailey, a former Fox News contributor nominated to be our country's drug czar." Bennett says, "Bailey was nominated by Trump, who just pardoned the former president of Honduras as he served 45 years in prison for conspiring to distribute over 400 tons of cocaine." And despite Bennett's objection delaying consideration, Sarah Carter is still expected to win Senate confirmation in the coming weeks. But by talking up her nomination individually, the Senate can confirm her with a 60-0 majority vote rather than the higher 2/3 threshold required for approving nominees as a group. Carter's nomination has been notable in part because she has publicly supported legalizing medical cannabis, aligning with an increasingly bipartisan policy direction at the state level. And last year she said, "I do believe that cannabis for medical purposes and medical reasons is a fantastic way of handling, especially for people with cancer and other illnesses, handling the illness and the side effects of the medication and those illnesses," end quote. She added an additional quote, "I don't have any problem if it's legalized and it's monitored." Her position stands out with federal drug policy circles, where past nominees have largely resisted reform, and supporters of Carter argue that her stance reflects a shift toward recognizing medical access and patient need, even as her critics question her qualifications for the role. Well. Sarah Carter, I'm standing with you on this, 10 toes down. We've been friends for a number of years, and I hope ultimately you get this appointment. And it sounds like, from the way this article is written, it sounds like you will. You're just going to need to get a 60-member vote in the Senate, which I think is actually achievable. And I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. It's too bad she couldn't be part of that bundle package with a little bow on top, but nonetheless. We're going to have someone in the drug office, Dr. T, that's cannabis and psychedelics friendly. Are you excited about that?
I don't know this person.
I do. I personally know her. I have had numerous interactions with her. We talk, you know what I'm saying? We've talked numerous times and had very many conversations in regards with medical cannabis and psychedelics, during Trump's first term. And so she hasn't deviated from any of those conversations that I've had with her personally on a one-to-one basis than what I have seen her display in the public space. So I'll say, I can say that.
Well, that, if that holds up, then that is good news. It looks like Schedule 3 is going to be the winner here. Interesting.
But the question is Schedule 3 really a winner, or is it just a TV dinner?
You can eat Schedule 3.
Oh man, what do you gotta say, Dr. Mark? I know you're not a fan of the boss, but you know what I mean. This is at least a good thing, right? Can we agree on that?
I don't think we should have someone appointed in our government and call it a czar. Okay. I don't think having a drug czar is a complete waste of fucking money. $250,000 is what that person makes for doing what? That person is nothing but a stooge. That's it. Period. There shouldn't be a drug czar.
So, and you're saying this, and you're saying this overall. It doesn't matter who's in power. You're saying there should be no drug czar overall. That shouldn't be a government position at all.
No. What do they need a drug czar for? To do press releases and to talk to the press? Get the fuck out of here.
Well, wasn't
that
it
$250,000 that they're spending on them, and actually do something useful with that money? Putting somebody in there as kind of like a focal point for the press and the media, lip service. You know what? Do something else with that money. We don't need a drug czar.
Just
well, the word czar has been used since Woodrow Wilson in the executive branch.
Terrible. So, what the fuck do we need a czar for?
I mean, it's a very old word. We've used it since before there was a colloquial hate against that word for very obvious reasons. But
isn't it a Russian concept? Huh?
Yeah, I mean, it just means leader.
I thought the Tsar came from Nicholas the Tsar, right? Some evil tyrant that ruled over Russia many years ago.
Well, in America, though, in the executive branch, Woodrow Wilson appointed the first czar over. I I'm trying to look at what it was. I don't remember what it was.
You know what? When they appoint a czar, that person doesn't do jack fucking shit.
Hold on a second, Doctor. Hold on a second, Dr. Mark. What if all of a sudden they created a cannabis czar in the administration? Would you have a problem with that too?
We don't. What do we need a czar for? We already got the plant. I know how to grow a plant. Do I need some czar in Washington to tell me how to grow and
Yeah, we need
plant?
someone. We need someone to run the
fuck
department.
outta here.
We need someone to run the cannabis department. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. It's a lot to oversee.
Someone to run the cannabis department.
Yeah.
Jason, I thought
We got-
you were the
we gotta
highest
have-
Republican.
Well, hold on,
Republicans
hold
are
on.
supposed to be for smaller government.
I'm
Make
about
the
that.
government smaller.
I am
Get
about
the
that.
government out of my weed
I'm just
trade.
playing-
I don't need the government messing with my cannabis.
I'm just
Period.
playing a little devil's advocate, and I think the cannabis czar would be like have to head like the MIDS eradication team across the country.
No, I don't want somebody telling me what's mid and what's not. And some people like mid because it's better for them. They don't like the high stuff. So,
You know,
yeah, I
could have-
agree.
we
The
could-
people are let the people rule, not the czar. I'm with.
I think the mids production should be at a mids level, very midsy level. You know what I'm saying? Instead of a mass production level. You know what I'm saying? Very midsy, very midsy.
You want to bring back the mids? You want to bring back the mids? Add a little trim to your next grinder of headies.
Oh yeah,
There's your mids.
yeah.
Well, so this is really hilarious because Woodrow Wilson was a Democrat. He was the first one to use the word czar, and he used it for the military and for someone who is the czar over military industry.
Mm-hmm.
And the word czar actually comes from Caesar. So it's a Roman origination. So you have a Democrat who's using a Roman word, and it's funny that it causes you to be upset, Dr. Mark. I'm not trying to be a dick, but
No,
I'm just a
I
little
don't
bit
care.
calling you
Call
out
whatever
that
you
it's
wanna
your
call it,
own
whether
it's your own
czar.
party's word. So
No,
you have to.
I'm not
Oh, he's freezing up again. Elsa just zapped him.
Democrat.
Oh, there he goes. Oh,
Just sir.
hold on, Dr. Mark, are you back?
Am I back?
Dr. Mark,
Yeah,
you were
you're back.
freezing
You're
up.
back. Yep, you're back. Yep. Yep.
So, I'm not a Democrat,
All we got.
Jesse. I'm an
Your
Your
internet's not working. All we got is I'm not a Democrat.
Yep.
What if AI says the czar historically was referred to an autocratic ruler in Russia, the emperor or king of Russia prior to 1917?
Sure,
we
yeah.
don't need any czars.
After Caesar.
Interesting.
Caesar also used it.
Chris Brady in the chat. He says, "Hi at 9 News, brought to you by Czar Bars." Oh, this has been fun. All right, we're gonna keep this train rolling. We're gonna roll right into Dr. Jean Talleyrand. He's the founder of the CESC and of Medican, where you can get your medical recommendations all the time, every time, and possibly even on Christmas Day if you're online. That's right, it is none other than Dr. Jean Talleyrand.
Thank you, Jason. Happy Friday to everyone. Not happy Thursday, happy Friday. My story today comes from Valley News up in New Hampshire. For a New Hampshire man, medical cannabis has brought both relief and stress, by Charlotte Matherly. Growing up, Thomas Jean always heard the same message. Cannabis is a gateway drug. He needs to stay away from it and anyone who is associated with it. He'd always heeded those warnings, so it was with some hesitation that the 19-year-old from Tilton, New Hampshire, walked into Sanctuary Alternative Treatment Center, a medical cannabis dispensary in Plymouth, New Hampshire, for the first time. Suddenly, the thing he'd been told to avoid his entire life was recommended to him by a doctor. He was wary but willing to try it after having bad reactions to other medications he tried to treat a genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. The shift was kind of weird, Gene said. I remember getting driven home from the local medicinal dispensary and being like, this feels like I'm doing something wrong, even though it's all legal in that sense. Recreational cannabis use remains illegal in New Hampshire, where cannabis is only allowed for medical use by patients who've been certified by a doctor and issued a special identification card by the state government. The granted state is on an island in New England due to continual prohibition on selling and cultivating cannabis. Despite bipartisan legislative successes in the House to legalize the drug, those efforts have repeatedly been killed in the state Senate. Moreover, Governor Kelly Ayotte has promised to veto any bill that would make cannabis widely available. Gene, now 21, started using cannabis early in 2024 at the suggestion of his doctor. His medical condition affects connective tissues in the body and causes fragile and hypermobile joints, meaning even small movements, a bump in the road, a sneeze, drinking coffee, can cause Gene to pull a muscle or dislocate a joint. Pain is the major concern. Like others in the program, cannabis wasn't Gene's first attempt at pain relief. He'd had serious negative reactions to other medications. When he tried cannabis, Gene quickly saw improvements. It keeps his pain to a minimum, helps him sleep through the night, and allows him to eat a full meal. It took a few months for Gene to come to terms with how cannabis changed his life. For the longest time, it was that kind of mental block where it's like, maybe I didn't want to realize it was helping me because this whole thing of being told this is a bad thing. We've got to get rid of it. We've got to make sure no one takes it, Gene said. And then it's like, oh, but I can sit without back pain now. As a child, doctors told Gene his ailments were just growing pains, but his symptoms came to a head in his senior year of high school when Gene couldn't keep up with all the things his peers were doing. I'm coming home and I'm immediately going to bed, Gene remembered. A normal 17-year-old should be able to handle a school day and not immediately crash out. Life with Ehlers-Danlos can be uncertain and limiting, as the course of Gene's day can change at any moment. He decided not to go to college because of it, and he doesn't drive out of fear that his knees will lock up and potentially endanger others. Gene is among a minority of medical cannabis users in New Hampshire. One of roughly 3% of patients under the age of 20 are under the age of 26, according to data from the program's annual report. More than half of registered users are over 56. The state has 112 other patients who use cannabis for Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. The therapeutic cannabis program established in 2013 serves nearly 15,000 patients. The production and sale and consumption of medical cannabis are heavily regulated by state law and an oversight board. Though more patients continue to qualify and enter the state's program, some say that the high cost and distant locations of dispensaries across New Hampshire make medical cannabis products difficult to get. Aside from his own worries, which have largely subsided, Gene said New Hampshire's strict lines of what's allowed and what's not can be a source of stress. For example, even certified patients like Gene must be careful about where they consume cannabis. He said he always makes sure to carry his state-issued ID card. He sometimes keeps a vape in his pocket and hesitates to use it outside of the house, but he still worries someone could give him a hard time. That crosses my mind pretty consistently. I tried to be very respectful about it, but it's still like, oh, what if someone has an issue with it, Gene said. You definitely still feel the almost anxiety aspect of it because it is still a thing that is kind of gray area, limbo state. These stories highlight the reason I dedicated my career to cannabis. I believe people should have access to any substance they want with education. Cannabis should not be prohibited. The state's responsibility is not to behave as if the general public are like 3 and 4-year-old toddlers. It's education, not prohibition, that we need. So I support legal access. However, if I have to make a choice, I will choose medical access over legal access any day. There are many suffering patients where cannabis is not only the best choice, it's the only choice. These patients' only other choice for its medical condition are opiates. New Hampshire needs to legalize. It's wrong to prohibit a plant, but at least they have a medical program, which is more than I can say for the 10 states remaining that continue to prohibit cannabis for any reason. This is Dr. Jean Talleyrand with High at 9 News.
And you know, Dr. T, this is in New Hampshire, right? Where this gentleman lives. And you know, New Hampshire has probably one of the coolest sayings on their license plates. That is the state motto. Do you know what that is?
Are they the live free and die, or is that Vermont?
They are live free or die. Exactly right. Exactly right. And that is, you know, and so would encourage this young man to use his cannabis wherever he feels the need that he needs to use it, because New Hampshire is all based around live free or die. And I would tell anyone that has a problem with that, I would tell them to mind their own business and to live free or die. And so you pick which one you want and then see what they have to say.
He might not want to die, though.
Well, it's not for him. He's saying that to the other person, the prohibitionist that has a problem with this.
Got it. Oh, live free or you die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Live and let live, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's the Beatles.
Yeah, all of that, man. All of that, Dr. T. I just, you know. So I really like this story. This is great. I hope is it Gene with a G or with a J?
It's his last name, and it's with a J, E-A-N, just like my first name.
Oh, very, very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, you know, and it's interesting because New Hampshire, you know, like they kind of have a program, they kind of don't, they kind of do, but they kind of don't, you know. But he's right next to Maine, which has a really great program. You know, and so, you know, if I was him, I would just be driving to Maine to pick up my goods. I mean, I know all my cousins in Vermont, they drive to New Hampshire to purchase their alcohol. So it's not out of the realm of reality for people that live in that tri-state area to travel from one state to pick up certain types of goods because there's better prices and more accessibility in them. So it's not out of the realm of reality.
Does Vermont also have
they have
recreation?
They have medical and adult use there also. Yep. Yeah, he could drive to Vermont too. I just feel like he'd probably. I think Maine is known for higher quality than Vermont is. Although Vermont is known for the best soil to grow cannabis with in the country. So that is, you know, that is one thing that I do know that Vermont is noted for, is producing the best soil for cannabis in the entire world.
Yeah, and we learned in previous shows that soil matters in terms of the composition of cannabinoids.
Yeah, on Tuesday we covered a whole story all about that. All about that, Dr. T. Yeah.
Soil and light, soil and quality of light.
Mm-hmm. No, we were just talking about soil in the story on Tuesday. But yeah,
I know, I'm just adding.
Yeah, you are right. Quality of light, that is true. You know, that's why we should only be able to use high pressure sodium 1,000 watt bulbs, and all these people trying to push this LED bullshit is just totally out of line. But,
there's a light that's even better than that, Jason.
No, it's not.
There's a universal light that gives us all life on the earth.
It's not that. It's not. It's good for outdoor weed. Okay, it's good for outdoor weed, and if you're going to make concentrates with it. But if you're doing stuff to actually consume as far as flower products, it's not better.
You know, you can build a lab quality greenhouse.
No, you can't.
Yes,
I haven't seen anybody do it yet.
Bro,
none of these ones that are up, none of these ones that are up are producing the same quality that a real indoor facility is producing. Not a single one of them. They could all say that they are, and I'll hope that they are, but the reality, the proof ain't in the pudding, and then ain't no Jello pop.
I wish Frenchie was still alive to take you to school, brother.
I'm happy to, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I've never found anyone that can prove me wrong yet.
Go read all of Frenchie's writings.
I'm not going to read any of that stuff. Me and Frenchie would argue about this stuff all the time, and Frenchie was just wrong.
Come on. Frenchie has the science behind him, though. So, unfortunately,
and I have the real life application behind me.
No, you just have one man's perspective.
Wait, who makes better cannabis, Emerald Triangle or Orange County?
Emerald Triangle for sure, my bro.
Let me tell you something.
You know the answer.
That's not true. That's better. That's better cannabis for concentrates. It's not really better cannabis. It's better cannabis for concentrates. It's not for actually smoking.
Jason's never going to agree with you just because he's totally biased on this.
I'm so based. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Jason's Orange County. Sorry.
Yeah.
Didn't you used to be up in the Bay Area, Jason?
I did, and even then, I was strictly only indoor. I said all outdoor is boof. I've always stood by that. Even when I lived up there, I've always stood by that all outdoor is bullshit weed, and you know what I mean. People want to buy it. That's great. I want to sell it. You know what I'm saying? But but if I'm going to consume something myself, it's only indoor, high quality indoor, not these midsy indoor stuff.
You like prettier cellulose is what you like, rather than quality resin.
Hey, if you want to come up with a scientific term to explain it, Jesse, I don't really have necessarily a problem with that, but I would prefer if Dr. Mark or Dr. T came up with the scientific terms as opposed to you, because they actually have letters behind their name.
A broader spectrum of terpenes. The sun has a broader range of light waves and produces a broader spectrum of terpenes, right? So
Correct.
I do agree with that, and that's why I say that it's better for producing outdoor weed, which you ultimately turn into concentrates, where that is a much higher threshold, and where I just believe that indoor flower is far superior to any outdoor flower. Not to mention it has a much longer shelf life, much more stability. It doesn't degrade as fast as outdoor, or as far as the composition process. All of these different things come into the play.
Pharma's gonna love you.
I don't know what you're smoking this morning, but it's clearly not weed.
It's only the best weed in the world, Jesse, just so you know. I see the smirk on Dr. Mark.
It's funny that you say that outdoor produces the best extracts.
It does.
And the best concentrates.
It does.
That's all that matters about the flower is the resin and what's inside of the trichome.
It doesn't. That's not true.
Period.
It's not true at all.
100% that's true.
It's not true at all. It's not true at all.
So the only other part of the plant is the cellulose. So you're literally talking about quality of cellulose.
Again, I'm going to defer to the doctors on this one. You know what I'm saying? The real researchers. You're totally trying to. I see what you're doing. You're trying to pigeonhole me into a position of a middle.
Yourself.
Yeah. I
didn't.
No. I'm just. It's just
I'm
truthisms.
not putting words in your mouth as famous correspondents like to say.
Exactly. Dr. Mark, what do you have to say about all this? Because I know you're a concentrate fanatic.
So is my internet okay? Can you guys hear me?
You're back.
You're back.
Yeah.
I was in and out there for a little bit. Yeah.
They have a lot of those out here.
I heard you talk about Vermont, New Hampshire, and everything. First of all, Vermont is way cooler than New Hampshire. Sorry.
I agree with that. I agree with that part.
But it seems like the folks in New Hampshire are maybe more politically aligned with your side. And, here you are up in Bernie Sanders, blue Vermont. There's actually quite a bit of Trumpers up here in Vermont, too.
I know.
But I don't think it really has to do with the quality of the weed. But I can say that, one of the things like Vermont was always like one of those areas like Humboldt where like during the Vietnam War era, these came up here to smoke and grow weed because it was kind of like outlaw territory, kind of like NorCal, right?
Yep.
So there's just been a huge weed tradition in Vermont for years, and I don't think New Hampshire even comes close. But you're right, Maine has also got a huge history of outlaws who basically go up there to grow weed. So you were asking more about like the sun grown versus indoor. I kind of like them both. I really scientifically, the plant evolved underneath the sun with its roots in the ground. Okay, folks, right? Roots in the ground under the sun. That's how the plant evolved through the time course of the millennia of evolution. That's where the plant has been. It's only in recent years have we've taken outdoor cultivation and move it indoors. As you know, you can grow weed indoors that looks really good. doesn't get you high, doesn't taste very good. So again, to speak to the comment that Jesse was making around, people are using plant growth regulators and other cultivation practices indoors to increase biomass, right? Because the more pounds that you get underneath that light, the more potential return. That's also driven again by prohibition economics as well. But no, I'm a proponent for living soil, and I hear what you're saying, Jason. I've had really good indoor, but I've had really good outdoor too. I think there's kind of like room at the table for both.
I've had.
Am I wrong?
Yeah. Maybe the Thanksgiving table, because I've only had really good outdoor, like in like the end of November and December. But like once January comes around, that stuff is already deteriorating and has totally changed every facet of it, and it degrades so much faster that it's probably only good for the holidays, and after that, it's just throw it in your fireplace and it's going to make your house smell great.
Yeah, this is true. So let me
see. You got that, Jesse.
Picking up the point that Jesse was going towards is that when you make apple cider, you don't take an entire apple tree and jam it into a grinder to juice the apple. You pick the apples, right? So what I'm going to tell you and challenge you, JB, Jason Beck, is that if I make a really nice rosin or a really nice bubble hash from outdoor, you can't distinguish that from bubble hash or rosin made from an indoor variety, right? There's no distinguishing because you've picked the apples, right? What you're talking about is the apple tree, and I get it. Yeah, you can look at like an outdoor plant and say, it's larvae, it's not as kind of compressed. Look at these nugs I get when I grow underneath these sodium lights. Well, again, yeah, you're changing the fundamental way that the plant is being grown, right? And if you're using PGRs, or even if you're not,
PGRs they're disgusting. PGRs are gross, bro. PGR will totally ruin everything. If there's PGR in there, I can tell immediately. I'm just like, hands up, whoa, get it out of here.
But I think that speaks to Jesse's point, because what PGR is doing is it's enhancing botanical canopy of the plant. Doesn't necessarily impact trichome content. Now, it is true, and one of the reasons why THC, measuring the amount of THC, correlates with trichome content, right? So the more trichomes you have on your plant material, the higher your THC level is going to be. But, again, just go back to this, and I'll shut up after this, which is that I've liked hash from indoor grown weed. I've liked hash from outdoor grown weed. Maybe there is a difference in terpene profile, especially if you're growing in a living soil environment. I also think that it's different whether you have those roots in a big tub, right? Or the roots are actually in Mother Earth. In Mother Earth, you got to remember, this is where the plant evolved, right? And there's a symbiotic relationship between the microbial content and all of what makes up the terroir, right? The reason why terroir changes from environment to environment, geography to geography, is because of the microbial content in the soil, right? And the plant relies on microbes to fix nitrogen, because the plant needs nitrogen to make the enzymes to make the cannabinoids, right? So if you starve the plants of nitrogen, you won't get a highly potent plant. So again, I'm not going to second guess Mother Nature. She's, done this over the time course of evolution. I believe that you could certainly grow good weed in a growing soil underneath the sun with roots in the ground. I'm not saying that all weed grown under the sun with roots in the ground is good. Certainly there's other things that affects the quality of the material, but I think our friends who grow outdoors can grow just as good a weed as the friends who grow indoors. That's all.
Okay, I'm going to tag on to this.
Oh boy, here we go.
Mostly what you said is totally true, Dr. Mark.
He's a doctor. You can argue with a doctor.
There's a few Of course, I argue with doctors all the time. That's my job as a human being. I would encourage you to go to FrenchieCannoli.com. I would encourage everyone to go to FrenchieCannoli.com and click in the left sandwich and open the giant menu that's available. And he has tons of stuff that his wife still maintains, all of his content. It's very wonderful. And the most important part of that menu is the writings by Frenchie. He wrote exhaustively and extensively about all of this. So, and thankfully, I was lucky to be a friend of his and a student of his, and got to make hash under his tutelage. And when you harvest cannabis of all kinds, from indoor, outdoor, various grows, various farmers, you realize that, as you said, Dr. Mark, living soil and the sun produces the best quality and the most amount of resin that's in the trichome. So it's not even the amount of trichomes, as you said, it's what's inside of the trichome, because the trichome is just a cellulose shell that holds the resin inside. So you can actually have...
It's not cellulose, it's fatty acid.
Yeah, okay, fatty acid. Sorry, I misspoke.
Yeah.
So you can have that shell...
Trichome is a protuberance of the waxy cuticle that surrounds the entire plant.
Wax.
The trichome itself has zero cellulose in it. It's all fats and wax.
Sorry, I misspoke.
Love those fatty fats.
So what matters is what's inside, and you can have a big trichome that has junk resin inside of it. And you don't know until you press that trichome and you explode it and you get the resin outside of it. And one of the classic ways, if you've watched Frenchie ever do this, is when you take a warm wine bottle and 2 pieces of cellophane and you put all of the trichome heads that you've washed through your process into that cellophane and you press it out. There's a radical difference between what you get out of those trichomes depending on how it was grown. And I guarantee you, like 100%, it is wildly harder to get a really good quality resin from indoor growing. It is so much harder. Can it be done? Yes, Frenchie himself said, yes, it can be done. There are some indoor growers that get really quality resin out of an indoor grow. They have to work much harder, and it's way more difficult to get a quality resin. So when it comes to cannabis, at the end of the day, you're growing 2 things. You're growing what's inside of the trichome and the resin that you need, which is all of the cannabinoids and the terpenes. Or you're growing the rest of the waxes and the celluloses and all the things that you're smoking that are irrelevant to you. So indoor growers are better at growing prettier things that is just beautiful looking cellulose and have a much harder time producing quality resin. Don't take my word for it. Go read Frenchie's writings, because he did all the studying. He pulled up all the studies. He followed the science way deeper than I ever have. And he's the master.
There are exceptions on both things. I think
sure, he said that. Really, that's what I'm saying. There are exceptions, but in general, and that's the same thing. It's like what he said was it's easier to grow outside and get high quality resin. Like you said, Dr. Mark, and the truth that you're bringing up is it's evolved to be this way. So you're trying to recreate in a lab scenario, which is what an indoor grow is. It's really a lab. Just think about it that way. If you have an indoor grow, you've created a lab.
I'm not mad at that.
And what you're trying to do is in that lab, you're trying to recreate a natural scenario that allows the plant to actually,
I would say no.
To actually live really well.
Jesse,
That's exactly what you're trying to do.
Hold on, Jesse. What you are creating in an indoor grow is you are creating the most perfect living environment for a plant to exist. The optimum environment as far as temperature, humidity, and all environmental controls, to where that plant never sees a rainy day or a cloudy day. And so it's the best plants because they're the happiest plants because they're getting everything that they need.
Environment.
That's the thing, though, Jason.
Environment. all those environmental controls that we don't fully understand as humans are out of our controls. I remember in the early days of hydroponics, yeah, the plants look great. They didn't get me high, right? Because again, they had to dial in because they're basically trying to recreate evolution. The only other thing I'd add, I totally agree with everything you said. And I, too, am a big fan of Frenchie and his way of thinking. I just wanted to add one other thing, Jesse. And again, going back to the apples analogy, it's very, very, you can grow apples, right? And you can grow good apples that look good. They don't taste very good, but they still look good.
They can have trash juice in them.
Of the apple has to do with, yes, the environment where that apple is being grown, where that apple tree is being grown, where its roots are in the ground. Is that a native species for that? You know, they have so many different varieties of apples these days. It's almost like cannabis, right? Where they have different varieties that have, you know, sort of matured in different areas of the earth. But yeah, Jason, like it or not, indoor growing is a synthetic environment.
I don't mind that.
Create
doesn't bother me.
Outdoor environment inside
Doesn't bother me. It's not trying.
Environments you don't always know everything.
It's not trying. It's not trying.
And one last thing on that. So what you're saying is exactly right. It is a synthetic environment trying to recreate what's done outside and what happens naturally and control it. And here's the thing that every grower and every hash maker knows is that it is the stresses in the environment. It is the extra hot days. It is the extra cold nights. It is the things that make the plant struggle, the wind, that actually help the plant create better resin, because the resin that it's creating inside of the trichome is meant to protect it from those things.
And again, this is why I say
it's also meant to attract pollinators.
Well, hold on.
Correct.
Hold on. This is again exactly, you just proved my point, Jesse, of exactly what I said, of the fact that outdoor weed is better for hash production and concentrates. Exactly my
that's
point.
all that matters.
Exactly. No, it's not all that matters. It's not.
Yes.
No.
So
it's what matters to you. It's what matters to you because you are a hash consumer. Okay. You're not a real smoker, bro. You smoke spliffs.
No, bro. That's first of all, that's not true. I smoke a wide variety of things. Spliffs are just my favorite thing because I'm smart and I'm worldly.
Let you tell it. Let you tell it.
Okay. So here's the thing. You're fighting thousands of years of ancient knowledge that's been collected through. Yes,
I've refined it. I've refined it, and I've summarized it. I made a Cliff Notes version of it that is easily to extrapolate and everyone to understand that indoor is just better.
Every super high quality grower knows that the stressed out plants create better resin, and the resin in the trichome head is all that matters. You can grow better cellulose all you want, but it's totally pointless.
My cellulose is greater than yours. I don't care. I don't care.
Make
this. You're not going to change my mind. You're not going to change my mind. But good try, Jesse.
I know. I didn't do this to change your mind. I did it for the education.
I'm here. I'm always about the education of the listeners, and just I hope the listeners know that I'm right. You guys are all wrong, and you guys are right about a couple things, but not all of them.
Well, you're going to find out in the comments what they think.
I love the comments have been lit today.
Is an AI human better than a real human?
There you go.
Oh, well, hold on now, Dr. T. Hold on a second. Now that you're going to bring that up, there are some AI humans that are better than some humans. Yes, because there are a lot of trash humans out there. I don't think anybody cannot say that there's trash humans out there.
Yeah. But that's part of the goodness of a human.
Now, overall, I believe that the human race is superior to the AI humanoids, because the reality of the fact is that if humans aren't there feeding the AI's information, the AI humanoids die off because they have to perpetually increase in information, and that information can only be delivered through human analysis.
Great. Now just replace AI human with indoor grow and real human
Stop
without.
Stop the grifting. Stop the grifting. And shout out to OG Grandma who says Jason is right on all matters. Shout out to OG Grandma. Yeah.
He's being sarcastic, bro.
No, he's not. That's cute. And on that, we're going to roll into our next commercial, and we are going to be right back. Oh, Jesse, I did want to say one thing, though, in relation to your analogy of the resin and all that stuff. You know what I took from all of that is basically that whoever at the birthday party pops all the balloons has all the fun.
Every legend has a humble beginning.
In world news, leaders are gathering today for the annual summit.
I want to tell you something, Che. The government is watching us through the television.
Oh, John.
Look, right there. They're trying to hack into my TV box.
We're still not able to hack into the TV box, sir.
Ha! But they can't.
I've rebuilt the entire electronic system, and it sends and receives signals through quantum phase space. They'll never get in. Engage target.
In other news, local authorities are investigating a series of strange atmospheric phenomena reported by residents.
Ma'am, we're with the federal government. We need to ask you some questions.
John?
Is there a problem? We've been trying to penetrate your TV box for over 6 months.
I told you they were trying to watch us through the TV, but you didn't believe me.
We can't get in, and to be frank, we have no idea what you've created.
Yeah, that's the point. It's called privacy. You know what the Fourth Amendment guarantees?
All we know is that we can't get inside. We want to know if you can create one for us.
QUX. Even the government wants one.
Ah, yes, and we are back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. I know we'll appreciate it. You'll appreciate it, and YouTube will appreciate it. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highat9news.com. And just again, quick reminder, YouTube has been a little funny with us. We were off YouTube last week. We were in YouTube jail. And so, if this show is not on YouTube, please make sure that you are following us on X and Rumble, ideally on X as well. There's far more viewers and eyeballs on X. And so we do want to grow that audience, and we would want you guys to all come with us in the event that we are not here on YouTube anymore. So please make sure that you're following us on X and Rumble. Jesse, anything you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I would just always tell people it helps us if you follow us on X and engage with us on X. I know that people have complaints about X. They say the chat's better on Rumble and various other things. But I would just remind you that for a show like us, what matters is potential audience. And there's a 10 times larger potential audience on X than any other platform. So please help us in that regard. Go follow us on X and engage with us there whenever you can.
All right, and on that we're going.
And also the things that X is always improving and always getting better. So their mission is to beat every other social platform. So the more we use them, the more we communicate with them and give them feedback, the better it gets.
And on that, we're going to roll into our next commercial, and we're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. That. So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
So is Meta.
And we are back, and we are going to roll right into Dr. Mark Scialdone. He's out in the great green state of Vermont, not to be confused with the Garden State, because they're constantly gardening trees up there. That's right. He's over at yes. He's over there at St. Michael's College, getting ready for the holidays with lots of snow packing up there. That's right. It is none other than Dr. Mark Scialdone.
Hey, thank you, JB, and happy Friday to everyone.
Yeah.
Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. I know I did. And getting ready to get into the holiday season. Hope that cannabis is part of your plans for the holidays. So today, my story comes from Care 11, which I believe is the NBC affiliate up in Minneapolis. So KARE. And it is entitled, Lawmakers Discuss How an Essential Ban on THC Products Could Impact Minnesota Businesses. As we know, Minnesota's been that hot state for the launch of THC, low THC beverages throughout their liquor establishments and party stores and whatnot. So let's see what this article's got packed in it for us. It says state lawmakers talk with THC beverage industry leaders about how a ban will result in their businesses shutting down. And so this story comes to us from, I'm not making this up, Burnsville, Minnesota. Had to look it up on the map, the suburb south of Minneapolis. Burnsville, okay. So leaders in the THC beverage industry met today with state lawmakers to talk about how the industry could change in a matter of months. State Senator Lindsay Hort, who is from Burnsville, said she wanted to discuss how the provision added in the U.S. Senate bill to reopen the federal government will essentially ban hemp-derived THC products. And we'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. So it really will decimate this industry if it stays as is with no changes, Port said. Listen to this. It's a $200 million industry here in Minnesota. $200 million. So that's a lot of revenue, and that's a lot of jobs that are going to be affected if this hemp ban goes into effect. The Port, along with other state lawmakers, toured Northern Diversified Solutions, a hemp processing company that purchases and processes hemp biomass so brewers can use it to create hemp beverages. They then sat down with industry leaders for a roundtable discussion. I think the hard part for us here in Minnesota is that we've worked really hard on passing languages on these regulated that regulated these products. Bob Galligan with the Minnesota Craft Brewers Guild said. He said that they represent 10 of nearly 200 breweries in the state, and about 70% of them operate or are thinking about operating in this hemp space. A major concern for a lot of our members, because this makes up some folks anywhere between normally 15 to 20% of their products, some as high as 30% of their revenue, some as high as 60%. So these guys are getting 60% of their revenue now from hemp-derived beverages. Galligan said new federal regulations would cap the THC products to have only 4 milligrams per serving. No one would buy these products, so none of us are going to continue to be producing them, Galligan said. He said that most Minnesota products have 5 milligrams per serving. I think most of them actually have 10 milligrams, but okay, we'll give it to them. 5 milligrams per serving. Beverages can have up to 10 milligrams per serving. Okay, well, there's the 10 milligrams. I guess that's the limit under their current state law. We are the national leader 100%. The way we regulate these products, again, is because of the language that we wrote that was literally not the first in the nation, but the first in the world, referred to the Minnesota model, right? Yeah, we've been talking about it here on High at 9 News. Minnesota certainly took a leadership position in beverages. Galligan said Minnesota just can't carve out its own laws. Ultimately, it could not. Brewers have to hold a tax and trade bureau license. They're not going to issue those to someone dealing with something that's in the federally illicit market. There are no tax provisions that come into play, and it's the main reason why most of our members are not, or all of our members are not using cannabis currently, or not producing cannabis-based beverages. Ultimately, this language turns into basically exchanging between cannabis and hemp. We all know it's just one plant, but that's just a point that he's making here, is that this is all coming from cannabis, not from hemp. Galligan said, if nothing changes, a sizable portion of those businesses will close. Court said they're not against regulating the industry, but she doesn't want to see it destroyed. We understand that the concern was when they passed this unregulated, unrestricted hemp across state lines, that we don't want that either, but we want a well-regulated, safe industry that consumers can trust. So we really think we have to offer some type of thing along this Minnesota model, Port said. She had conversations with U.S. lawmakers and the Department of Agriculture, and she said it feels like there is some bipartisan interest in Congress to come up with a solution, and the Agricultural Department, I guess she's talking about the USDA, is also willing to talk about it. However, Congress would need to act fast because farmers would need to plant their crops in the spring. Growers aren't going to put something in the ground that might go away this year. So the timeline and the supply chain, I think, is incredibly important as we bear in mind on how to move this forward. THC product changes go into effect in November of 2026. And they point out a previous article, again, this was from the KARE website, on why the federal ban of THC-infused drinks, or THC-infused drinks and snacks, could mean for the hemp industry. And we all know that basically lowering that overall dose per container down to 4.4 milligrams, not 4 milligrams, 0.4 milligrams, is not going to give the desired effect for people who want to consume gummies and beverages. So I think the feeling amongst the producers in Minnesota is that that cap at 0.4 milligrams per container is basically going to decimate this industry, decimate at least the beverage part of the industry. And again, I agree with what they're saying here in this article, that Minnesota has basically been the kind of like the flagship on driving this beverage thing forward. So yeah, so same old story, you know, this is a bad regulation. It all stemmed from the fact that, you know, the 2018 Farm Bill had a bunch of nebulous, if and any, you know, concrete regulation in there. So, you know, outsprouted all of this this hemp-derived stuff, and now they're trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube. Unless you run videotape in reverse, that's very difficult to do. So that's my story today. I hope everyone's got a great weekend with cannabis in your plans. I'd be interested in what my colleagues, correspondents have to say about this crazy article.
You know, this excites me. Yeah, this excites me. I'm excited to see, you know, one of the best things that can happen out of this hemp ban is that the states are realizing that they have huge economies that are built out of hemp and have been built out of hemp over the last 6 years. And so they're gearing up to fight. And as a libertarian, there's nothing more than I like than when states decide to take on the federal government.
Yeah.
and ignore all the czars, as you said earlier.
Yes,
Dr. Mark.
Yes.
I agree with that. By the way, I was just challenging you on the language. So the states going toe to toe. I do too. I do too, man. We're in the same boat, man. We're not necessarily in either party, and we're more freedom oriented than anything. So that's what's up.
Can I be the czar of the boat?
Wait.
Can I be the czar of the boat?
Party. I'm in the might as well party. That's my.
Yeah, exactly. So seeing states gear up to recognize that they have huge industries that they need to protect, and that the federal government is actually harming them, that's exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen over the course of the year.
You know, we know that hemp and marijuana are the same plant, right? It's all cannabis, right? It's all the same plant, and the definition of hemp and marijuana are bad. They're arbitrary, which is why the same products can be produced in the hemp industry as it can be produced in the marijuana industry. So this is essentially descheduling. That's what hemp, the 2018 Farm Bill did. It was a descheduling bill. And what we have had over the past 7 years is a de facto descheduled market. And it's grown rapidly. It has some issues, but not issues that can't be overcome. Some minimal safety rules can be put into, not creating odd products from cannabis. So, it just shows that descheduling works in a positive way for our industry, for our economy, and for the patients, for the people. So, bring it on.
It's the perfect time to bring up weed for the people. It's all about the weed for the people. Yes.
I think it goes back to what Jesse said last week on our show that probably is not on YouTube, right? Which is that for every cannabis beverage that's sold, that's one less alcoholic beverage that's sold. So it's interesting how Mitch McConnell and the distillers want to get rid of that. But guess what? The distributors, right, who own the distribution chains and all the supply chain to put all of that hemp throughout, they're wanting this. So it's interesting, even within the beverage industry itself, distillers say no, but the distributors say yeah. So let's see who's got the power play there in that supply chain.
Well, it's the consumer, really, too, that's going to demand from the distributor, because once they enjoy one of these beverages and realize that they can replace alcohol and not be hung over the next day and still have just as great of a time, guess what they're going to come back to? Human beings like improved experience, no matter what it is, right?
That's why we grow indoor weed,
or a beverage, or
indoor weed,
better flower that's grown outside, or whatever it might be.
Is it just me, or if I take a trip to the liquor store to stock up for the holidays, I'm going to have some family and friends over, I would love to be able to get some hard alcohol, some beer, and some THC beverages. I would love to be able to buy that in all one place, right? They're all beverages. They all come in cans or bottles or whatever. So wouldn't it be great if you can go to a party store and get your alcoholic beverages and your THC beverages all at the same time? I love that. I love that.
They're skirting the lines. They're skirting the lines.
I can't wait till it shows up in Costco.
My only problem with that, Dr. Mark, is the public perception of how it's regulated. Is that it pushes public perception into the intoxicant world, and we talk about all the time how it's not actually an intoxicant because it's not toxic. So that makes a little bit of
call them party stores.
Right. So that makes it a challenge publicly. And then what ends up happening is then they want to regulate it just like alcohol. And I have a problem with that too. So it's not super easy to do, but if they could put them in those places without regulating it just like alcohol, because it's not an intoxicant in the same way that alcohol is an intoxicant, you can't die from cannabis consumption, and you could definitely die from alcohol consumption. So That difference needs to be really clear to the public, and I don't know how we do that, I guess is what I'm saying.
Oh, I think you just hang different signs in different sections in the store, Jesse. This stuff will kill you. This stuff won't.
They won't.
Yeah, I don't know how the
alcohol's got to push back on that one.
I don't see the distributors being okay with that. See, that's where it goes back to the distributor and the system that we have for the economies of those products, and I don't see them liking that. That's where it becomes very difficult. It's like you want to put it in one store, and then the distributor has to respect all products. But the reality is that we're trying to separate cannabis as a non-toxic product that gets you high, and that high experience is better than an intoxicating alcohol experience.
Fair enough.
So it's comparative in one sense, but not in so many others. And that's hard for people to understand who aren't experts.
Well, on that, I think you guys all made some very valid points, and we will continue on and keep pushing for descheduling overall. Yep, that's right. It's a pirate ship.
No, you put that on alcohol.
Yeah, it's a pirate ship, and on that, we're gonna roll into our final commercial, and we are gonna be right back. Arr.
Oh man, your knees still bothering you, man?
Yeah, my left one, you know? And I'll tell you what, I've been using this new CBD cream, and it works like a miracle.
CBDs? I done heard about them CBDs. I was out there on them Twitters the other day, and I heard they get you high as a kite.
Well, not this stuff. This stuff is tested. Every batch, all the way through, pharmaceutical grade, and in a GMP certified facility. So you know you're not going to have to worry about flying high.
GMP certified? I might have to try some of this out. Where I'm even find this?
You go directly to aimhighhemp.com and they will ship it to your door right away. Test it. It's not a name, it's a promise.
Yes, and we are back, and we are going to roll right in to Mr. Jesse Barney. He's the founder of Barney Design Co. and can take your brand to the highest plateau, as well as probably take you on the ride with your brand if you want to go along for the ride and actually listen to what he has to say. That's right, it is none other than Mr. Jesse Barney.
People who listen to me always end up in a better place.
Yeah, that's what I tell people all the time, too.
I know. My story comes out of the Marijuana Herald, our lovely friend Anthony Martinelli.
Yeah, he does such a great job.
He does
Shout out
such
to
a
Anthony
great job.
Martinelli.
Everyone should support the Marijuana Herald. It's an incredible website. Love his articles. They're always quick and succinct and important. Signature gathering is now well underway for the Idaho Medical Cannabis Act, with organizers from the Natural Medicine Alliance of Idaho having numerous events scheduled today and in the coming days. What began last month, as we covered here on High at 9, as a newly launched ballot effort, has quickly become a coordinated statewide push, with signature gatherers positioned at public markets, stadiums, holiday events, parades, and community centers throughout December. Organizers say that this momentum reflects how many Idahoans want to see voters, not lawmakers, decide whether the state should adopt a regulated medical marijuana program. The initiative itself would establish a tightly controlled medical system, allowing patients with qualifying conditions to access marijuana under strict regulations. Qualifying conditions would include cancer, ALS, epilepsy, PTSD, chronic pain, Alzheimer's, and more. The proposal establishes a medical cannabis card for qualifying patients and a medical cannabis production license that allows licensed producers to grow, process, distribute, and sell cannabis in a vertically integrated system for easier regulation. According to the Alliance, initially 3 production licenses would be issued statewide, with the potential to expand to 6 as Idaho's population grows. Wow, that's really small. Licensed operators may maintain up to 2 facilities, 6 retail locations, and offer online ordering for pickup and delivery, all under strict labeling, inventory, and inspection standards. Operators must have a pharmacist engaged for oversight. Cannabis use would be prohibited in public, and the card holders would be prohibited from sharing their supply or operating vehicles while under the influence. Physicians recommending cannabis would be protected from liability, and cardholders would be protected from employment, housing, or custody discrimination. In Idaho, nearly 836,000 opioid prescriptions are written every year in a state with fewer than 2 million people. That's crazy, says the Alliance. That's 44 prescriptions for opiates for every 100 residents. Yet patients facing cancer, PTSD, epilepsy, chronic pain, and other serious illnesses are still denied access to safe, natural, non-addictive medical treatments to ease their pain. The Alliance says that they were formed to change that, adding that they believe Idahoans deserve access to legal, compassionate, natural care right here at home. The group's mission, they note, is to give patients a legal pathway to natural medicine that can ease suffering and restore dignity without the fear of addiction. The Idaho Medical Cannabis Act is our first step forward, says the group. It creates a safe, tightly regulated medical program that allows qualified Idahoans to seek medical cannabis treatment with a valid diagnosis from a healthcare provider. It supports Idaho agriculture, generates tax revenue to reinvest locally, and ensures that patients can find natural relief. Right now, the most important thing for the group is to focus on signatures, and the Alliance is moving quickly to reach voters face-to-face. This week, the group has announced a growing slate of events where Idaho voters can sign the petition and learn more about the initiative, where potential volunteers can help gather signatures themselves. These gatherings highlight the broad strategy the Alliance is deploying: urban and rural locations, community gatherings, both large and small, and visibility at major regional events. One of the largest efforts is taking place at the Grove Plaza in downtown Boise, which, if you haven't been there, it's an actually absolutely beautiful downtown. Boise is really, really cool. Where signature gatherers will be stationed at all 4 entrances during the Capital City Public Market. The events run December 6th, 13th, and 20th from 9:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., making it easier for market goers to stop by and sign on their way through the plaza. Another major location is the Gem County Fairgrounds, where NMAI volunteers will be present inside the fairgrounds, etc. We don't necessarily need all these details on their events. But they are rounding out, man, they're just doing all kinds of events. These events illustrate the scale and pace. They listed like 5 or 6 different very large events they're doing this weekend. So that's pretty awesome. They're getting after it. These events illustrate the scale and pace of the campaign's early organizing. Rather than wait for voters to come to them, signature gatherers are placing themselves at community hubs where the Idahoans already gather during the holiday season. As one organizer put it in a recent public update, the goal is to meet voters where they are and give them the opportunity to decide whether patients in Idaho should have legal medical access to cannabis. Signature gathering will continue through the spring, with the Alliance needing more than 70,000 valid signatures to qualify for the 2026 ballot. With this kind of organization, I don't think they're going to have a problem. And you can visit this article if you're interested, and there's a link at the bottom to find out more information about this organization and where their planned events are. So this is pretty awesome. It's definitely got its dark side. I talk about it all the time, how there's sort of an Admiral Akbar. It's a trap setup with the medical marijuana style of introducing legalization, in that regulation is not legalization. So to be aware of that is very important, but also doing anything to get patients access is incredibly valuable and important. So I'm one of those people with this that 2 things can be true at the same time, and I can hold contradictory arguments in my mind at the same time and realize that there's value on both sides. So kudos to these people for getting to work and getting it done and creating something that will give access. Also, I wish I could warn them and say, be careful, go for complete decriminalization and descheduling rather than this route. But that's all I have to say, and I'll toss it over to my fellow correspondents.
Idaho, man. Good, look at this, bro. We thought this was going to be the last state to ever do anything, and look, they're on the move right now. They might get this done in time for the election to be on their ballot in 2026.
Oh, they definitely will. They're going to
get it.
If they're working like this and moving like this, they definitely will. The 70,000 signatures is not that hard.
No, not at all. That's easy.
Yeah.
I mean, for voter ID out here, we're you know what I'm saying, we're going to accumulate 1.2 million, and you know what I'm saying, that's a heavy lift. But 70,000, I mean, come on, people should be able to do that standing on their head.
Yeah, but cows can't sign the form. I don't know how many people there are in Idaho.
2 million.
There's 2 million people.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the pharmacist's recommendation. I think California made a big mistake by not acknowledging the medical consumer, and which is why dispensaries are failing right now in California, where only 1% of the consumers have acknowledged to be medical in California at some dispensaries. So I think this is a way to sort of maintain the medical population as you open it up for everyone. You know, I think that's a smart move.
Yeah, without a doubt. Dr. Mark, any thoughts on this?
Well, I know that there's been a lot of people moving from California to Idaho. I know that certain municipalities in Idaho that
way better taxes.
It's just
gone
bonkers, right?
Yep.
Because people are selling $1 million homes in Cali and then moving up. So maybe it reflects in a changing demographic within the state, you know. But Idaho is still one of those places you get pulled over. You got a weed smelling in your car, you're going to get thousands of dollars of fines and probably spend a night in the jail.
And the pokey, and they'll feed you potatoes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. They'll ask you,
get worse.
They'll ask you, would you like them scalloped or mashed?
That part will get worse, Dr. Mark.
Yeah.
They'll get more intense about it.
Yeah.
The way that Idaho police are, I guarantee you, they're if they legalize medical, they'll get more intense about smelling cars and arresting you for a DUI. And if you don't have a medical cannabis card, you're not just getting a DUI, you're getting way more charges than that, and you're going to jail.
That would give law enforcement a reason to want to pass this, Jesse, is that, hey, if they can amp up the charges that they would have for non patients carrying, and therefore decreasing the penalties for people that are card carrying members, I could see them totally getting behind stuff like that as far as their law enforcement up there.
Maybe I would see kind of like it from the point of view that like the law enforcement community in general are kind of like old school Idaho people who maybe don't like this influx of all these California people, right? And they pull someone over, you know, driving a Porsche. Oh, they got money. They came up here from California. You know what? I'm gonna put these people in jail, even though it was only a little one hit or a little vape pen. I'm gonna prosecute these people to the full extent of the law because I'm from Idaho and they aren't, and they invaded my state, you know.
I mean there is some truth to that, and I think it's more of an economic thing as opposed to being from California or from whatever, because I have witnessed that happen out here in Los Angeles, where I've seen people in lower economic areas not get parking tickets for certain things or whatnot, and when we did an inquiry as to why, they said because those people don't have enough money to pay the tickets, but meanwhile they are still issuing tickets to people for the same thing that actually can pay the tickets, which I don't think is necessarily that fair overall.
So drive a junker.
Fair enough.
There's something that's not mentioned in this story.
Oh, yeah?
I don't think they're going to have a problem getting the signatures, and I don't think they're going to have a problem getting it on the ballot. What's not mentioned is how vehement the opposition is going to be. Idaho is one of the most conservative places in the country, if not the. And that type of conservative that I don't necessarily agree with. They're the most Mormon place. It's not Utah. It's Idaho, and that's not very well known. Most people think
the
Utah
Mormons
is
are
the
down.
most Mormon
The Mormons are down with weed overall because they control all of Las Vegas and everything, and that's how even they were able to get it passed in Nevada is through the Mormons.
Idaho Mormons are not down with cannabis.
They're down with it as long as they're allowed to control it.
Yeah,
they're down with control.
You have to understand, Idaho Mormons are different. They're the most strict, most fundamentalist. They're not Salt Lake Mormons. They're not Nevada Mormons. They're very different.
They're different. So you're saying they're a different strain of Mormon? Jesse.
Yeah, they look at Nevada Mormons and Salt Lake Mormons, and they call them Jack Mormons. You know what a Jack Mormon is?
I know what Jacks are. You know what I'm saying?
Well, a Jack Mormon is a very specific thing. A Jack Mormon is basically a fake Mormon who doesn't really adhere to any of the rules. So Idaho Mormons are super strict. They're ultra conservative and fundamentalist in their religion. So they're not okay with any of this. Southeast Idaho is a very, very interesting culture in a very particular place that's completely unique in the entire culture of the entire United States. If you haven't been there and you don't know the people from there, it's quite amazing how radically different it is and how much impact that religion has on the state overall because they dominate the state. And people don't just really know that. So this organization's doing great work. They're clearly going to get their job done if they're doing it like this. They have a big fight ahead of them. The state is not, and also you have to understand that the legislature that's in Idaho is vehemently against it. So they will do everything they can to figure out how to block this.
I have a question, Jesse.
Yeah.
Are these Jack Mormons, are they all consumers of Jack Daniels?
Basically, yeah. I mean, basically, that's kind of what it means. Is that they're Mormons who drink and smoke and drink coffee and things like that. The things that Mormons are.
I knew it. Well, on that, we're gonna roll into our final story of the day, and I think we're gonna end this on a happy note. I think because I have another study for you guys on the medical side on this Friday. You guys, I hope your doctors are ready because they say CBD may help stabilize brain chemistry in people at high risk for psychosis, a study finds. That's right. A new study from researchers at King's College in London offers new evidence that cannabidiol, better known as CBD, could help regulate brain activity tied to memory and early signs of psychosis. The findings published in Psychiatry Research. Neuroimaging examined how a single dose of CBD affected the relationship between hippocampal glutamide levels and brain activation during verbal learning tasks. The study involved 33 people considered clinically at high risk for psychosis, and participants were randomly assigned to receive either 600 milligrams of CBD or a placebo. And while a separate group of 19 healthy controls completed the same testing without any study drug. All participants underwent MRI scanning and measurements of hippocampal glutamate before completing a verbal learning exercise. Those who received a placebo showed a clear positive correlation between glutamate levels in the hippocampus and activation in the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. That pattern differed from the healthy control group and matched what researchers typically see in the early stages of psychosis. In those who received CBD, however, the pattern flipped. The CBD group demonstrated a negative correlation between glutamate levels and prefrontal activation, suggesting the compound may help normalize a disrupted signaling pathway. Similar shifts were seen in the parahippocampal gyrus and amygdala during verbal recall.
Amygdala.
Say that again?
Amygdala.
Yeah, amygdala. Okay, all right, amygdala. Gotcha. Amygdala recall. And researchers said the results point to CBD's potential to modulate a key neurochemical link involved in memory and cognition, offering possible therapeutic pathway for people experiencing early warning signs of psychosis, you guys. So take this, all you naysayers that say that cannabis causes psychosis. We actually have some studies that prove otherwise. So put that in your pipe and smoke it on this December day. What do y'all have to say?
Well, it's important. This is why it's important to, when you're discussing cannabis, to discuss whether you're using type 1, type 2, or type 3, right? And there's some evidence that type 1 may provoke a psychosis. And here, type 3 would prevent psychosis. So opposite effects from different subtypes.
So are you saying, Dr. T, that 3 is better than 1?
When it comes to preventing psychosis, it's interesting. I didn't know about this model, this glutamate prefrontal model, activation model. High levels of glutamate and prefrontal sets you off for potential psychosis as sort of a predictive factor. Not that we're testing everyone for that right now, but it's an interesting study. I love it.
Yeah, now you're going to...
What does that mean to the layperson, Dr. T?
Oh, sorry.
What does this glutamate in the prefrontal cortex actually mean? Is it a diet thing? Is it?
So there's GABA and glutamate, right? Those are neurotransmitters in your brain. Those are chemical signalers in your brain. GABA makes you feel relaxed. Glutamate makes you feel excited.
How does the glutamate production managed, or how does that? Do we know?
How's glutamate formed?
Yeah.
It's formed in the nerve cells. It's created by the nerve cells, and then shot out in between. Shot out in between the nerve cells, sends a signal to the other cells. So it's a signaling chemical in your brain. Same with GABA. And you can go out.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, if you have higher glutamate in your prefrontal cortex, why? Is it something in your diet or your exercise, or lower stress or higher stress, or?
We don't know. We don't know. You're just you're just hyper excitable and potentially higher chance of having psychotic episodes with it. So
and those aren't necessarily chronic psychosis. It's an acute momentary psychosis that can happen from that, correct?
It's chronic high glutamate levels, which may set you off to a chronic psychotic episode. It's a way to sort of try to predict who's going to be schizophrenic. Like, not everybody's this way, and most people aren't. But a few people who have high glutamate levels and more activation in their prefrontal cortex may develop schizophrenia. And so they're trying to say, okay, these guys who may develop schizophrenia, if you give them CBD, you see this chemical shift where the glutamate goes down and the activation goes down. And so they're less likely to develop the schizophrenia because of it. So it might be a sort of a way to prevent schizophrenia, the vaccine for schizophrenia in a way, CBD.
So with a little bit of deductive reasoning, it seems like the glutamate production or the levels in your brain might be related to your endocannabinoid system and what's going on with that.
Oh, definitely. That the endocannabinoid system modulates glutamate and GABA. It puts the brakes on both of them. So, here we go. This is why CBD is important, because it may be able to prevent schizophrenia by putting the brakes on the glutamate.
But cannabis has no medical value. I think you missed that part.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest joke of the century.
Dr. Mark, you want to throw anything in on this, Dr. Mark?
No, I think Dr. T covered it really well. I would say just add to what Dr. T had said. Glutamic acid or glutamate, right, is alpha amino acid that's in proteins and biosynthesized like all other amino acids through the central paradigm of biology, which is using DNA and RNA, messenger RNA, to basically put proteins together. It's interesting, the relationship between glutamate and gamma aminobutyric acid, or what he referred to as GABA, is a removal of a carboxyl group. So when you decarboxylate glutamate, you end up getting GABA from that. And yeah, they're widely implicated in a number of different neuronal pathways as signaling molecules that are used, just like Dr. T said, neurotransmitters that are used to signal all kinds of different processes in the brain and central nervous system.
Yeah, that's why people take GABA. You can go get GABA at a health food store and use it to help you relax, help with anxiety, help with sleep too. So it's out there. It's just an amino acid, as you're saying.
So I'm guessing that word has evolved over the years because I think it used to be called yabba because the Flintstones used to always say yabba dabba doo.
On that note,
yes, they always used to get them excited. It always when you get excited.
It's just an abbreviation for gamma aminobutyric acid. That's it. Has nothing to do with the Flintstones whatsoever.
But you can take your vitamins, Dr. Mark, and help. You know what I'm saying? Get your gabba gabba doos on.
Multivitamin.
Yeah, get your gabba gabba doos on. You know what I'm saying?
Or maybe a little dabble do you for your GABA.
Living back in the Stone Age, they called it getting stoned.
Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly. Yes. And on that, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. And big shout out to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do this every day, and thank you to Cloud Media partners Elias and Gabriel. They're somewhere in the metaverse. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. We are America's #1 daily cannabis news show.